Hello and welcome to Teachings in Education. Here we are going to take a look at some important tips and strategies to help teachers with their lesson planning. The better you get to know your students, the better you can tailor the lesson to their strengths, weaknesses, and interests. Remember, the lessons are built around them. The next strategy is to create your own or acquire somebody else's lesson planning template, where you can continually save and build lessons from that template. Teachers should try their best to find and utilize free resources. As teachers, we don't get paid enough to buy resources, and many schools lack the proper funding. Some standards are more important than other standards. They are called priority standards. These are the standards that teachers need to focus their planning around. Teachers must remain flexible during class time. Flexibility is key. Just because you plan a particular lesson one way doesn't mean that lesson will turn out or should turn out that way. It's best to collaborate with peers, especially if teaching the same content area. Some schools allow for collaborative planning time. Research shows that students become more engaged when lessons are related to the real world. How many times have we heard our students ask, "When am I ever going to use this in real life?" So plan lessons that are relevant. Lesson objectives should be, quote, SMART, which means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Use technology to facilitate your lesson planning as a great way of saving time. Lesson planning software is readily available for educators today. Request school districts pay for it. Emergent curriculum is a way of lesson planning where the teacher is responsive to the student's interests and needs. The teacher makes changes in addition to the curriculum based on what the students ask for. Diagnostic assessments should be given early in the year or before starting a new unit. Diagnostic assessments will allow the teacher to see stretches of learning gaps. A reflective teacher is a wise teacher. Reflection is a form of assessing oneself. Educators should reflect on the success of each lesson. Teachers should save and reuse their old lesson plans. Not only does it save time, teachers can find lost gems of lesson activities within their old lesson plans. Before planning any lesson, consider if there are enough materials for that lesson to take place. Before planning a poster board presentation, make sure you have enough poster boards available. One way to increase student engagement in a lesson is to include some pop culture references. My biggest mistake when lesson planning is that I always wait to the last day to complete them. I wait to the last minute. My lesson plans are then rushed, and I don't really put enough attention into them. Bad lessons come from bad lesson planning. When building lesson plans, it's advisable to make use of Bloom's taxonomy or Webb's depth of knowledge to ensure that students are learning with a high degree of cognitive rigor. And lastly, don't worry too much about lesson plan. It's important to lesson plan just as it's important to plan for anything else you do in your life. But I've seen teachers spend their entire weekend on lesson plans, and that's not okay. You should not be putting that much time into lesson planning. You want to be efficient and use these tips. Anyway, right now I want to thank you for your time. I ask that you please subscribe to this channel and check the information card in the description for resources as well.